colleges can actually offer this training to help grow and fulfill the cybersecurity professional need that's out there. In a similar way, another one of the things we heard was there's a lot of people that are online, there's a lot of issues around data, there's a lot of just need for awareness around what the vulnerabilities are, how to protect yourself, what to do if something does happen. So looking to enable a community education or other community organizations to provide courses in internet safety. We even talked about, do we want to even grow that a little bit around computer programming, just to use that as another option to get people involved in this. But the main focus was really going to be on the internet safety. What do you do? What should you be concerned of? Especially as we get more and more students with more and more devices, and their sense of what they should protect and what they shouldn't protect is evolving. And it's evolving dramatically from what we're used to, where we were much more willing to read a description of what rights you're giving up when you click this box to download this piece of software and install it, versus they just click and they don't realize what they've given to whatever the developer is in those applications. So again, more of that program to kind of do that. All thinking these are being very small. We put some just real high-level numbers in here, but based on your guidance, we can either go with numbers or not go with numbers, but to kind of do a pilot of all these type of programs so that we come back and say, next year, yes, there was some success in this, let's grow this, or, we tried this, wasn't as successful as we thought, we can repurpose those dollars somewhere else.
Kevin, before you go, can I just comment on that particular? So, I'm so lucky this week, last week, and next week, our team is going on, we're visiting all of our broadband communities. So we're going to Red Wing tomorrow, we're meeting the team, and then Morton Renewables and Red Wing and so forth. We're in many places, and I would say every single one of the 30 communities that we've been working, this community ed component, including on all kinds of tech literacy stuff, including often a cybersecurity component, is in place. And the challenge there, of course, is to make sure that they're sustainable and that they get embedded in a way that's ongoing in the community, and usually in the community ed context. In Minnesota today, in rural Minnesota, a lot of communities have made progress of integrating their training offering so that it's like a no wrong door thing. So if you're living in Staples, you get an integrated community guide to all community ed offerings there. And the trick has been to get that brought in so that it's part of their general community offerings ongoing, and then find teachers and to do the curriculum. My point is that my concern is that we're a task force, and there's lots of them, and people are looking at STEM and education, all kinds of stuff that we don't want to atomize this solution too much, because in my experience, the success is when it's embedded in a holistic look on the community's part about community tech and being tech savvy in general, and that it should be embedded in existing offerings. So I would just, I'd be glad to offer more information, but as we develop this recommendation, I don't want to do harm by setting up a siloed program that's so, narrowly focused that it's not embedded in more holistic community efforts around tech ed.
Describe the concept of no wrong door. I have no idea what that means, so just describe it.
Well, what that means is that instead of getting 4 community ed brochures in your mailbox from, like in Itasca County, Deer River and Marcel and Taconite and Marble and Coleraine, they're all doing their own community ed programs. It's all combined into a, so that the YMCA and Bridges Mentoring and everybody that's helping, and the Krusty Arts Center, everybody has a single community-facing portal.
Got it.
No wrong door.
I think we are saying the same thing with our group's discussion, and it was really going to allow some of the communities that have that network or that structure already to just be able to enhance what they have and help with that sustainability, leveraging some dollars, but not for one-offs to, teach a class here, teach a class here. It was really, if I understood our discussion correctly, it was really to enhance those regions and communities that already have that strong network in place.
We initially looked at this one as, do we try to do something more in the schools for this, in the K-12 schools and things like that, and in talking a little bit with Denise, we kind of changed the angle a little bit just because of where the lack of dollars they have, some of mandates that they already have that they struggle with, this would be just seen as another one that they probably couldn't do, and we thought, the community education environment is potentially more adaptable to something like this. It's another class, no different than if I'm taking a photography class or if I'm taking a yoga class or whatever, that it's easier for them to fit that in the structure without having to kind of create something new. So. Next up on the cybersecurity, it was to establish a portal to disseminate information, so the cybersecurity information to citizens, to businesses, and government entities. Really, it's kind of you talked about no wrong door. This is kind of the first place to go to find more information. State of Michigan does this. We think it looks like it's a good place for people to start. It certainly isn't meant to be, this is the best of all recommendation of how to take care of anything or recommending vendors. It's more, here's a place to start doing the research so people can be pointed to one spot to learn more about this. And then finally in the cyber area, we heard a little bit during a couple of the sessions around, because of some of the information around cybersecurity, there's a couple concerns. One, because you don't want to tell too much information because somebody might be listening and might be able to use that against you. And you also don't want to get yourself in a position where you're sharing more of your kind of your dirty laundry, public setting that could become even more public that you intend. You're more than happy to share it with a small group or a group like this that you trust in you and that the information isn't going to leave the room. But sometimes when you get government entities involved, you run into the open meeting laws, and you run into, because government's involved, now that has to become public if someone asks for it. And really what it does is it prevents the open sharing of this or the open ability to say, hey, something happened to me, you guys better look at your environments for it to see what's happening to you, here's what it is. I'm much less likely to share that if I know that that's going to potentially show up in a newspaper somewhere. So what we really would like to do is build this group that is not subject to the open meeting laws due to the nature of the information we're talking about, due to the details that are being discussed, things like that. I've had some preliminary conversations with the folks a minute. They think that exists, but we don't really have, oh yeah, if we followed these guidelines, here's what we can do. So we make a recommendation, there's a way to do that for groups like this who need to share that information, and we can have that information shared not just within citizens or businesses or governments, across all those. So those were the ones that fit cybersecurity and emerging tech. One that we kind of brought up at the last minute today, and it was based on, I think, Sophia's comments, is do we want to do anything about Wi-Fi and buses? Interesting proposal she made. There's still a lot to be potentially hashed out about that.